Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Hour. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Dracula. Caleb Landry Jones, who I think is phenomenal. I love him. Probably gonna make a good Dracula, almost too believable. I like him when he's like a little crazy but a little sweet. You know, it's like a chicken wing. But you've seen him; he's phenomenal. I love his acting. Christopher Waltz is in it as well. Zoe Blue. And that's all I recognize right now. It is 6.2 on IMDb, 31,127 people rated it so far. So a lot of people have seen this movie. I obviously have not. It's 2 hours and 9 minutes long. When a 15th century prince denounces God after the loss of his wife and inherits internal curse, he becomes Dracula. Condemned to wander for centuries, he defeats fate and death, guided by a single hope to be reunited with his lost love. It's Dracula's story. So I don't know. This has been done many times. I used to watch the old Dracula, the black and white stuff, and Frankenstein and the Mummy, all that stuff when I was a kid. It wasn't as you know what I mean, like scary. Like scary movies now, horror movies are really. I wouldn't let my kids watch them. But those old movies, they were like okay, but they were just I don't know, not as scary. I mean, I guess somebody biting your neck isn't the greatest thing. Anyway, whatever. Here I am today, and I'm really ready to watch this version of Dracula. So let's check it out and see what it's about. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of Dracula, and I have to say, I did enjoy it. It's not without fault, and I'm gonna say, without spoiler alert again. I'm gonna talk more openly about it, so hopefully that you've seen it. But it's the story of Dracula, so there's not much there. You know what I mean? It's not like if you've seen one Dracula, it's all very similar. There's just small parts that pull it out. And the actors are a big one. Caleb Landry Jones, phenomenal. Again, I felt I was so smart when I was like sitting here, and I was like, he's a method actor, and I can't wait to say that and share that with all of you. And I thought, you know what? I better Google that. He's not actually a method actor. Um, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But he really dives himself into his roles, and I think he does a fabulous job, as I said before. And he was good in this. Interesting when it starts off and we get introduced to him as Dracula or Vlad. He's old. Well, no, not initially. Initially, they show him 35, right? And then they show him like 400, like he really was like 400 years old. And I'm like, the lore of Dracula to the women was, he's a good looking guy, very charming, you know what I mean? Very personable, very romantic, and that's how he brought them in. And, I'm sure he had some spell going on and that kind of thing, but like, how did he get all the women? Now, this story is he was a prince and his wife dies. He goes to battle, his wife dies. And so we read that in the beginning, right? So he swears off God and says, I'm going to, until you bring my wife back, I am going to not believe in you. And then God puts a curse on him. He becomes Dracula. He's immortal, and he drinks blood, and he can live forever. That's what immortal means. But anyway, um, so then I'm like, how does he get all the ladies, right? Because that's kind of like the thing. Well, he creates a perfume that he puts on, and I was like, Axe body spray, and that brings the ladies to him, right? But so I cracked up at that. Like this is probably where the Dracula Axe body spray. You know what I mean? Like that's get women like the Count Dracula can. That's advertising. You could take that if you're a perfume person or a cologne probably. Anyway, I thought that was interesting how they played that out, which is a little different than any of the other Draculas. Like he's just a young handsome, but as he drinks blood, he gets younger, right? And then we get to see him, and it's an incredible love story because he's looking for his wife for over 400 years, right? He's been Dracula for 400 years. He's trying to find his wife who actually died, trying to find a reincarnation of it, right? And this is where the spoiler comes in. Finally gets her back to the castle and takes a stake to the heart. I mean, spend 400 years looking for the love of your life, and this is what happens. Oh my goodness. There's a couple of things that like I said, the acting was great. Christopher Waltz and Caleb Landry Jones and whatever the girl's name was, I enjoyed them all. Any other girl, there was two girls. Mary was one, Elizabeth was the other. They're their characters' names. I was really into the film, watched it. I didn't even get on my phone at all. I only Googled some things so I wouldn't sound silly. But I already did. But there was a couple of things that, So these gargoyles. right? But he has like the small gargoyles that like are on the outside of castles and stuff like that with the wings and the weird faces kind of thing. Now, I might even mention in the beginning of this that I watched that and I was trying to look it up. I can't find what I watched back when I was like a little. Maybe there was one from 1972. It wasn't that. I wasn't alive then, but I could have watched it. I don't know. Anyway, gargoyles. There were bigger ones. These were just little guys, right? And it's funny if you've seen the movie now, you're gonna laugh. But as I was like, I just didn't like the gargoyle. It just felt weird to me and I placed it right before the end. They're throwing rocks off the balcony to hit like the intruders, right? And it reminded me of the Ewoks, right? From Return of the Jedi, little Ewoks. They're like little Ewoks. It just felt misplaced. And when I first saw them attacking people and doing all the different things, I was like, that's what they're like. They're like little pets. It was just instead of like demonic or scary or anything like that, they just seemed like Ewoks. And then you see at the end, again, spoiler, they were actually kids. And I was like, oh, that fits now. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh my gosh. So I thought that was interesting. And then there's two other scenes, right? The first bite scene, when he goes in and he starts, he goes after all these women trying to find his wife, goes to this big grand ball and just starts fighting people. It's just weird that nobody moves, nobody runs, nobody gets scared, everybody's just watching. You know what I mean? If I saw that, I'm out of there. Or maybe trying to be a hero. Let's just say I try and be a hero and stop him. Probably more of the first. But anyway, nobody does nothing. They just watch them and whatever. Nobody does anything. I know. I did that on purpose. And then the other one was when he goes into what's it? Not what is it for nuns where they all live together? Not the rectory, but what I know, convent. He goes into the convent, right? And that was just, I get it again. That was his transformation, become the 400-year-old Dracula to the 35-year-old Dracula. He needed more blood. Great. But it's just, I don't know. It was weird. Like the pyramid thing, and, he does his little Axe body spray, and they create a pyramid and whatever. I don't know. Pieces that I just didn't enjoy. The rest of it, I thought was pretty good, and very entertaining. And you get the backstory of Count Dracula, and hopefully how it all happened. I don't know. There you go. That's what I got. Check it out. If you know who Caleb Landry Jones is, you're gonna watch this movie. So, and if you haven't seen Dogman, that was one that popped in my mind. He was in that too. So, well, he starred in that. So, all right, that's it. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.